novel Godmersham Park by Gill Hornby. I have read from this in other videos, so I think we have now reached chapter 5. Chapter 5 in this book is about Jane Austen's relatives. So she also features as a character, although we haven't quite met her yet. So as previously, when we read this together, we've got our Jane Austen candle, which says, "There is nothing like staying at home for real comfort." So I hope that brings you some added comfort and coziness as we read this together today. So you just sit back or lie back. You can close your eyes if you want to. There are no expectations on you right now. So you just let yourself relax, and we shall get started. So I was 11 or 12 years of age. The stars that was full and confident blow at the head of the table. And there arrived the rector, the newly married Mr. and Mrs. Knight. Now, while his tone was conversational, the content inclined more to the monologue. Why was I, upon whom they lighted, out of all of my family? I shall never quite know. I believe it was your great personal beauty, Papa, Fanny kindly reminded him. Oh, Mr. Austen demurred with great modesty. I do not know about it, but it was Papa, very frugal and hesitant beyond was the evening of Anne's first full day of employment, and yet already she was seated at the family dinner. The occasion was Fanny's 13th birthday. It was not a grand affair, just the parents, the four eldest children, and the young Look. And thus far, the entertainment appeared from Mr. Austen's recitation anecdotes they all already knew well. And in a quite remarkable little event, they took me away with them. And he turned towards Anne and whispered, "Do you think it's rather funny to select a small boy as your honeymoon companion?" And who thought it odd, but was wary of showing any sort of reaction. She had no doubt marmot indeed is an animal that one finds in these mountains. Mr. Austen was now sharing the high points of his grand door. He saw it before it was skinned, and may I tell you, was by no means prejudiced in its favour. A small boy, perhaps it was George, began in his boredom to kick at the table. A remarkably unpleasant specimen, quite unlike our own native mammals, which seem to be altogether superior. Nor does it bring benefit to the agricultural practices most common in the region. And I thought it a shame to find in Edward Austen yet another beneficiary of the grand door, for it was a custom of which she did not approve, though its express purpose was to improve the character, to broaden the mind. She had yet to meet a young man made more interesting by the experience. In her view, the door's only true benefit to the door himself, the circle, was the purchase of an inexhaustible supply of conversational matter. And with that, dining room dominance for the rest of their days. The kicking became louder. The boy yet more restless, and waited to hear some sort of parental rebuke. Instead, the mother, placid and unruffled as ever, gave the merest glance of regret to the obstinate kicker, while the father continued with the thrust of his story. Mind, as I learned from my extensive alpine sojourn, the marmot does have one significant advantage, and that is, dear Edward, that his young aunt, Miss Harriet Bridges Cutter, you know that I find you fascinating to the most desperate degree. I long to hear more, particularly about our own native mammals. Too riveting. She shuddered with excitement. But I wonder, do the children want to hear any more about the agriculture? And wherever of those, she waved one pretty hand, other things, and was quite riveted by this bold interjection. Mr. Austen was simply astonished. The marmots, he looked at his family for a clambering defense. No more of the marmots. He was thunderstruck, and I have yet to get on to. Fanny promised to buy me a cricket ball first in one way or another. I didn't promise exactly. Fanny demurred that the marmot was last. After dinner, the family was to adjourn to the library. It was not made explicit whether the hound should join them or not. She received no direction, so once again she stood hesitant in the hall, uncertain whether to follow or just disappear. It was the rather fascinating bold aunt who came to her rescue. Do come with us, Miss Sharp, On the other side of the room, a game of charades was begun, and longed to be invited to join it, but Harriet was settling down into her cushion. So why are you here in particular? That's what I'm bothered. No woman chooses it after all. But I've read a great many novels, Miss Sharp. I know all about the wild adventure, the good-looking governess does yourself. Indeed, try she might and get another colony such character and affection that she had had. Clearly she and Miss Harriet Bridges enjoyed quite different days. Yes, you're running away from something. Harriet looked down amused. You are not at all what I expected. I had steeled myself for a vision of great plainness. But, Miss Sharp, you're really rather pretty. You must have been prettier still when you were more of my age. Do you peak, as it were? You certainly have an air about you, though I have yet to quite please it. Her eyes then lit up, but perhaps you are running towards something. Yes, she clapped her hands. That must be it. I have no doubt that the next news I have of you will be that you have scandalously eloped. Despite all of the above, and found that she could not help but warm to Miss Harriet Bridges on this first acquaintance. She actually chose to converse with the governess at least, and already knew not to expect this degree of consideration from others among Harriet's class, and she had a spirit about her which had immediately attributed to her unmarried estate. Perhaps Mrs. Austen had once been the same, but now that her life had worked out in its perfect sequence, marriage, estate, and child after child, Elizabeth seemed to her a little dulled by complaisance. No doubt Harriet would in the end turn out like her sister, but at the moment thought her in an optimal state. She was single, so unquestioned by her husband, neither dwindled into a wife, nor yet beset by worry nor rank disappointment. She seemed to enjoy status at once, and the traditional good looks of the rest of the family. There was no reason to doubt that one day she would come to be settled. In the meantime, she could enjoy being simply herself. Mrs. Austen was now at the piano. The children were dancing, and the atmosphere so gay that Harriet could resist it no longer. The dreary governess was abandoned, her secrets forgotten, and a sad alone for some moments, benign and impassive, for all the world as if her feet were not at all itching to dance, her voice not